right, so we're here with Spencer Columbus Rocket head coach Jason Gorst. Coach, thanks for coming on with us again here in 2019. Before we get started on this season, we'll talk a little bit about 2018. And it's interesting, as we talk about 19, it'll sound a lot like 18 in the way that you start the year against the Stratford Tigers. Last year you started at home against Stratford, and then it turned out you played your last game of the season against Stratford in a bookend kind of way. Just talk about some of the favorite memories from last year, some of the accomplishments that you and the rest of the guys on the team had.
Yeah, overall it was a great season. Really proud of the effort that our guys put forth. They really left it out on the field, throughout the course of the entire season. Great senior class that we're definitely going to miss dearly. Just a lot of young men that are definitely destined for success in life. So it was a great season. I think we learned a lot along the way. Hopefully a few life lessons and whatnot. Had quite a few victories and had a lot of fun along the way.
I think back in the season, one of the things that and maybe I should have known, but I didn't, was really the breakout success of one Austin Bacon. He really came on the scene. He came on the scene a big way in week one. Who were maybe one of those other, besides Austin, maybe some of those other guys from that last year's team that really came alive during the season?
Yeah, Austin definitely comes to mind. He did break out, went from playing primarily JV the year before to having that big season. I thought Hayden Ballman took a pretty big step forward last year to become a big contributor both sides of the ball. He'd been playing before, but definitely took a pretty big step forward. There's a lot of that senior class too. There was a lot of leadership there and guys that had some success and continue to have success. But we definitely did see people building on things as we went. Getting Gavin Kilty back from injury, he missed his sophomore season. He came back last year as a junior very strong and had a very nice season up front on the line for us.
So we got just about a full training camp in now, just a practice or two left before we start the season here in just a day and a half from now. Let's talk about practice and what you've learned about the team so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Our numbers are up this year, which has had many benefits. Number one is just the competition that creates. We haven't had the freshmen having to practice with us, when it comes to scrimmage type things at all this year. So we're getting a very good look. We think that we have some more depth than we typically have. We have more players overall that are really competing for different positions, and I think that competition has elevated the play of everybody collectively. So been very happy with the way our guys have practiced as far as effort, focus, motivation, all of those things. Day in, day out, we haven't had a bad practice yet.
Oftentimes on a football team, the quarterback is the most important position for a number of reasons. But one, they're involved in every single play. You mentioned the seniors, and one key senior now has graduated, Jared Mandel, who had a tremendous career here with Spencer Columbus Rocket football. Any idea, can you fill us in on quarterback play and how that has panned out during these few weeks of practice?
Yeah, we've had a couple of guys competing with Gage Stratman and Ty McDonald have been splitting reps. Both have performed very well. We've been very impressed with what they've been able to do in practice and in the scrimmage. They bring a different skill set to the table. And so we'll just continue to move forward with that right now and see where that takes us.
And then, Coach, we'll get to Stratford here in just a minute, who is your week one opener this year. You're at Stratford. It's the Zaleski Sports Game of the Week. Before we get to that, though, who are some of those other, whether they're young or they're now seniors, whatever their age is, who are some of those guys that maybe can have an Austin Bacon type breakout, or people that when we're at the games we should just keep an extra eye on because they might really progress during the season?
Yeah, I think Eden Jacobson is a young man that comes to mind. Last year as a sophomore, he started for us and played pretty much every down defensively, and offensively he got a fair amount of time in kind of a crowded backfield situation. With the graduation of Carson Hildebrandt, who was a 3-year starter at fullback for us, it's opened up a position in that lineup for some more carries, some more touches. Eden's a very versatile athlete, given his speed, his height. Maybe not your typical fullback build, but we think there's a number of things he can do on the field. I think Austin Grabowski is another young man who's taken a big step forward. Last year he was a two-way starter for us as a sophomore on the offensive and defensive line, and he's stepped up into I guess more of a prominent role this year with what we like to do with him. So those are the couple guys that stand out, and like I say, there's a lot of people competing right now, and you don't really know what that'll look like until you get on to a field on a Friday night under the lights, and then you really get a feel for who can play and who can contribute.
Yeah, and again, Coach, that's going to happen this Friday, the 23rd. It's Spencer Columbus at Stratford. Our Zaleski Sports Game of the Week. People can watch that by going to ZaleskiSports.com. You got to know Stratford quite a bit last year. As I said at the beginning of this, you started against them at home. That was a win to start the season. It really kind of set your season up well after that. It's always nice getting that week one win, getting a nice boost to the season. And then for a chance to go to state up in Medford, the two of you played in one of the coldest games I've ever been a part of, and I was in the press box. You were on the field, but you got to know Stratford quite well last year, and now you play them again this year. Just thoughts coming into this game, the big opener to the 2019 season this year.
Yeah, they have a lot of talented football players. A couple of seniors that graduated that were pretty good. Kate Erke, Dylan Shane are a couple of the best high school football players we've ever gone up against, and have a lot of respect for those guys and what they were able to accomplish. Kate Erke, for what my opinion's worth, is one of the best running backs in the state, without a doubt, last year. Coming back this year, they are very talented, very big, very strong up front on the offensive and defensive lines. You take a look at their offensive line, and I don't know of another one that's got that type of size and athleticism, combination of all those things, and guys that are very technique sound and know what they're doing too. So we know that that's definitely a strength of their football team there, and again, a number of young men we have a lot of respect for.
Coach, take us maybe to the end of the first quarter of that game on Friday. Regardless of what the scoreboard says, how will folks watching the game there in person or whether they're watching online, how will people watching know that things are going according to the way Coach Gorst has prescribed and wanted this game to go?
I think it comes down to some of those game-changing type plays. Anytime you wind up in a game like this, you look at turnovers, you look at mistakes made, especially early in a season. We want to try to limit those mistakes, on our end of things. Limit turnovers, try to create those things for our opponent here. So it kind of really comes down to the fundamentals. Blocking, tackling, and turnovers are kind of the big three. In a game like this, too, special teams can certainly turn the momentum pretty quickly. So want to be sound in all of those areas there and try to do what we do well.
All right, Coach, best of luck on Friday and best of luck in 2019.
All right, thank you much.